on your back with a little head support on your mat. So I'm gonna put these to the side. I'm gonna lay down and you're just gonna get comfortable first. So you're just gonna wiggle around. Clear your throat. And once you've wiggled around, you want to feel that you're not necessarily pushing on your neck, but you really have a little bit of a head support, and that this spinal support is really up to your body. So, you know, if you're a little asymmetrical like I am, I'm going to kind of, what I'm doing is trying to build up the floor. So the floor and my back meet. So I'm trying to get my back body and the floor to meet so that my back goes, those are technical terms. Okay, so take a moment, reach your arms to the ceiling, bend your elbows and clasp opposite elbows. At the same time, walk your feet a little bit farther away from you than maybe what's your norm, and kind of pull your feet towards your butt as if you're trying to pull the mat underneath you, and that's gonna rock weight towards your tail. And you wanna keep that as you keep this arm connection, and you're gonna kind of rock side to side in those ribs. So I want you to keep pulling with the feet just gently so your pelvis stays stable as you rock your ribs by pulling your elbows. So you're rocking your elbows, your head can move with this, and your ribs are moving, but you're trying to pull with your feet so you stay nice and grounded through the pelvis and your sacrum. And then you're gonna come center and release that. Do a little shoulder release there. And then you're gonna grab whatever you wanna hold between your thighs. So I'm gonna use the circle, but you use a pillow, a block, a ball. I'm gonna keep pulling my feet, again, a little bit farther away from me than what I normally do. I usually want my feet really close to my butt, but today I'm going a little bit farther away. I'm gonna pull my feet kind of under me, so feet to butt, butt to feet, so there's a little magnetism going between my sits bones and my heels. I haven't squeezed the circle yet. Go ahead and reach the arms up to the ceiling. Take a breath into that back and side body. On your exhale, keep pulling butt to feet so that your pubic bone stays level with the hip bones, and you exhale and squeeze whatever you've got between your thighs. Now when you squeeze, are you tucking your butt? Are you using your glutes to squeeze, or can you get inner thigh, so the inner lane of your foot, your inner thigh, pubic bone and sits bones gathering through that pelvic floor right into your waistline? Did your ribs or your spine tense against the mat? Can you let that go? Did your shoulders tense? Then we're gonna add on the arms. So we're gonna inhale, let the arms open and the legs open. And then exhale, squeeze everything slowly. Get your arms and your legs kind of moving at the same rate, even though your arms have a potential to move more. And then inhale, open. This is really just to take time to connect to your center, your midline, to notice all the places that feel a little uneven. And there are a lot in my body, so hopefully not as many in yours. As you exhale, pulling center, noticing which leg is firing easier than the other, which one's harder than the other. Maybe you peek up and you go, oh, I forgot to get this leg into the center, or oh, I tucked, get my pubic bone level with my hip bones. And then two more. Inhale, open. Back and side body. Exhale, pulling center. Noticing where your abdominals fire and where they don't. Maybe which side they fire and which side they don't. Inhale, open. Exhale, center. Then from there, you're going to keep a little hug. Keep pulling the feet to the butt. Inhale, take your thumbs to the floor above the head. Maybe they touch the floor, maybe they don't, but you're going to inhale, reach, keep the ribs down. Breathe into that backside rib cage. Maybe let your circle go just a little bit, or whatever you're squeezing. And then exhale, squeeze a little deeper. Bring the arms down, and then keep reaching your arms towards your feet as you curl up a little bit. Sinking the navel down, but sinking the navel back, I should say, but keeping your tail grounded. So when you lifted your head, did your butt immediately curl under? Keep that planted. Pull the spine back, not tipping the pelvis. And then inhale, release the squeeze between the legs and reach the arms overhead, breathing into the backside rib cage. Exhale, squeeze and reach. Curling up. Check in with your head and neck. And then one more like that, just waking up all these muscles. Inhale back. Exhale, squeeze and reach. Hold there, reach a little bit more. If you need to bring your head down, go ahead and bring your head down. But if you can keep your head up, great. There's no, don't be a martyr, right? So take your head down, but keep your ribs down. That's equally as hard as keeping your head up. Then all you're gonna see is, can you keep everything level from your knees to your head and just extend one knee? Whew, can you keep the squeeze? Maybe you squeeze a little bit more. Inhale down. Exhale, try the other side. Squeezing. Can you keep everything level? How's your sacrum? How's your spine? How's your pelvis? One more time each side, just to test the waters. Just tuning in to your awareness, your asymmetries, your body, like where it feels good, where it doesn't feel good, what's a good bad, what's a bad good. Breathe and reach your arms overhead. Release the squeeze on the circle. Take a nice inhale. On your exhale, bring your arms to the ceiling. Sink the ribs and the spine back, even though your pelvis stays level. Hug whatever you got between your legs. Drag your feet to your butt and lift your legs up to your version of tabletop. Feet could be a little higher. Feet could be a little lower. Feet could be in between. Knees could fold in a little bit. Knees could be a little bit farther away. So find what's right for your body today. Then you're going to inhale, breathing into that backside rib cage. Exhale, get a little hug of whatever's between your thighs. Curl up if you're curling up. Tuck the chin so you're looking right between the thighs. Tail is down, spine is pulling back. Now pump your arms, breathing in. And squeeze the circle, breathe out. If you want to add a little squeeze pump, you inhale. Legs and arms are pumping. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and inhale. Breathe into that back body. Exhale. Inhale. This is hard coordination for me today. Exhale. 2 more sets. It's the 50 today. Exhale. Inhale. Keep the pelvis grounded. Exhale. Mine wants to wobble all over the place. Keep reaching. Exhale. Reach, 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 reach. And then release. Take the circle down. Take the feet down. And just take a moment there. Now that you've gotten a nice heat there in your belly, work a little bit deeper. Keep the pelvis down. Walk the feet and knees together. Reach your arms up to the ceiling. Take a moment. Feet to butt, butt to feet. Just enough to keep your pelvis grounded. Pull the spine back in opposition to the pull of those legs. And when you're ready, shoulder blades are easy, so the neck and throat is easy. And then float your legs up to your tabletop. Now, see if you can challenge yourself, now it's a little bit easier, to not let the knees just pull in. Because what we want to start to do is work right in the center, right at the navel and the rib cage. So what you're going to do is you're going to inhale into that backside rib cage as you reach the arms and legs away. And then you're going to exhale. Imagine you're curling up, but keep your head down and pull right from that navel solar plexus area to bring the arms and legs back to the center. So your starting and stopping place is right here. You're going to inhale out. Exhale in. Inhale out. Exhale in. Start in the center when you pull in. So it's not just clamping my ribs down and pulling on my neck and shoulders, and it's not just pull my knees in and curl my butt under, right? That's different things. Inhale out. Start right here at that navel and solar plexus. Almost like you're going to lift your head up, but then you're just going to be like, oh, I'm going to keep it down. Inhale out. Exhale, working that center. One more. This time, curl up through the ribs. Don't let the knees just hold in. Curl up through the ribs. Sink the navel out. Reach your arms a little bit more. Grab whatever you've got to take around your foot. So maybe a yoga strap or the towel. We're going to do a little leg stretch. So you can bring one foot down and one foot up. The bottom leg, I want you to stretch away as far out as you can keep your ribs and your pelvis stable and level, right? So pubic bone, hip bones level. Leg stretches out. Ribs pull back. Just do a little flex and point through the lifted leg. Again, you can use a belt or a scarf or a towel for this. Maybe you just want to do it without anything. You want to hold your thighs, hold your hands with your thighs. That's also fine. Your leg may or may not be straight, so you do what's right for you. Then you're going to turn your leg out a little bit and you're just going to circle it. Now, you can do this bent. You can even do this with your thigh totally bent, and you're trying to let your hip crease really start to release so that you're really using your trunk muscles to stabilize your trunk, meaning your pelvis and your spine, and you are guiding your leg into these circles. Whether the leg is bent or straight is totally up to your body today, and one side might do one thing and the other side might do a totally different thing. Reverse whatever direction you're going in. So go the other direction. Now check in every now and then with that bottom leg. Get to the center of that heel on the bottom leg. All right, then bring that leg across. So I take opposite hand to leg to bring it across, keeping my pelvis as level as possible. It's not going to be perfect. And then go to the other side. And then come center, and then we'll switch sides. So take the other foot into whatever leg stretchy situation you're working on. Maybe lift the head, level the pelvis, stretch that bottom leg out as much as you can, pushing down through that bottom heel. I can't go all the way straight with the bottom leg on this side. And then I'm just going to start with a little flex and point of the foot. Again, just grab your thigh with your hands and just do it that way. That is fine. Circle the ankle a little bit, maybe just stretching it in various directions. And then whether your leg is totally bent, midway bent, or all the way straight, you're going to let your leg turn out a little bit. You're really going to try and release this hip crease. Keep your bottom leg stable as you circle that leg. Releasing the hip crease. Sacrum just falls between that stable pelvis. Spine is nice and heavy with gravity, and the abdominals are just gently stabilizing it as the leg does these small circles. Release the hip crease is your mantra. Breathing as you do this. And then bring your leg across. I like to do opposite arm to leg. Woo, it's a little tighter on this side today. Every day's a new adventure, huh? And then opening that leg out. And then come center. Bring that leg in and down. Then we're going to take whatever you are squeezing between your legs back between your thighs. If you're using something big like the circle, make sure that you start with your feet closer together than you think so that when you squeeze, you're in alignment, so the toes and the knees are in alignment. The same thing if you're using something smaller with the ball, bring your feet and your legs a little closer than you think so that when you hug whatever you've got between your thighs, it's bringing you into a parallel alignment. Now, again, use a pillow, maybe you don't use anything and you just bring your feet, your knees, and your hips and your pubic bone and everything just kind of to the center, right? You don't have to have any of these props. All right, I took my head support away. Bring your arms just gently down by your side. Feel the collarbones widen, the shoulder blades drop. On your exhale, you're going to connect into that center line, hugging the legs towards each other, pressing through the center of the feet, and you're going to curl your pelvis under a little bit. So sits bones starts to curl up to the back of the knees. Sits bones, let me get words out of my mouth. Sits bones coming up to the back of the knees, noticing, so here you're unleveling the pelvis. Then talk to your spine a little bit. So squeeze a little bit more, get into that inner seam of the legs right into the pelvic floor and think, what's my sacrum doing? Then what's my spine doing? As you slowly lift your spine up off the mat. Keeping a little squeeze, you don't have to go very high. Noticing if one leg fires faster than the other and see if you can get them both working. Make sure your upper back and your feet are taking the weight, not your neck. And then you're just going to slowly massage your back down all the way on the mat. Once you're all the way down, just breathe and release. And then you're going to exhale, find your center, your midline, whatever props you're using, just take time to connect to that center, then roll the pelvis. Then let the spine respond, and then what's the sacrum doing? And then the pelvis kind of helps pick up the sacrum, and it's Femurs are picking up the pelvis. And you're gonna lift up. Squeezing there. It's hard to keep my squeeze with the circle. And then rolling all the way down. Taking a nice breath in at the bottom there. And then exhale. Right now I'm wishing I chose a smaller inner thigh prop. Curl the pelvis under. Sits bones curling up. Lengthen the spine by connecting into the feet. And bridging up. Pull the butt gently towards the feet. Let the neck be easy. And then keep the squeeze as you roll down. And then release whatever you've got between your thighs to the side. Then from there, we're going to roll to our side. And take a minute. Use your arms to sit all the way up. And you're going to walk your feet a little bit away from you, seated. Now, if it's hard for you to sit on your sits bones, then by all means, sit on the edge of a sofa or chair. You could sit up on a bolster or a block. Just make sure, because we are going to be rolling back, one block might not feel like quite enough. But if I do two and I sit to the front, then I'll have a little prop behind me. So I don't want you to feel like you're falling off of something if you choose to sit up. So that's why the sofa or a chair is nice, because you know it's back behind you. All right, so you're going to grab either your shins or your thighs, and you're going to sit up as tall as you can on those sits bones. So set yourself up for success. So sit up on something if you need to. And we're going to start with this articulation of our spine. Just think, bring your breastbone back. You can even put your hand there. Bring the breastbone forward. So this upper rib cage. Bring the breastbone back, and it's small. I haven't started rocking on my sits bones yet. And bring the breastbone forward. And then bring the breastbone back. Can I just do that? And bring the breastbone forward. Now, think about the rib cage in the middle and lower part. So that back body that we try and breathe into a lot. You're going to bring those ribs back. Now I'm still trying not to rock on my sits bones, so I haven't rocked back. I haven't even leaned back. I'm just bringing that back and forward and back. I'm putting my hands on my ribs because it helps me, because it's hard to know. I'm like, did I even move? Did it move well? I don't know. And I'm just being curious, and my hands are helping me. You do not have to do that. You can just let your hands rest on your thighs. You might connect really well with this. And then coming center. Now, lumbar. So for me, when I do the lumbar, I think a lot about navel. Again, I'm not rocking on my sits bones, so it's not going to be big. Or, I shouldn't say it's not going to be big. For your spine, it might be really big. You might have a really flexible, long spine. For my spine, it's really small. I'm pulling that back, but I'm trying to stay on my sits bones, and then I'm going to bring it forward, and then I'm pulling that back. So I really think navel pulling back and low belly pulling back to kind of round my lumbar, and then I'm going to let it come forward, and one more, and then coming forward. And now, just with your hands wherever they're supported for you, you're just going to rock on your sits bones, so you know the difference, so you feel that, and come forward. And then rocking back, and then coming forward, and then rocking back, just so you feel that. And now we're going to put it together. So you're going to go breastbone, ribs, lumbar, pelvis, all the way back until your arms straighten. Ooh, my calf is cramping. Get my feet down there. Now, notice if your knees are kind of falling open or falling inward, just get them parallel and see if you can keep the tops of the feet on there. And then I just want you to stay there. And instead of just thinking, sit up, when you sit up, I want you to think, bring the shoulders over the hips, and you're in the longest curve as you come forward over that. And then you stack up. And then you go breastbone, rib cage, lumbar, pelvis curling under until the elbows are straight. Hold there, breathe. When you're ready, you come forward, you bring the shoulders over your hips, stretching from sacrum to skull. Are you rolling up evenly or unevenly? I can see that in my knees and my pelvis, but if you just see it in your knees and you sit all the way up. This time, walk your feet a little bit farther away so that you're going to flex your feet and have your heels there. Now we're going to go breastbone, rib cage, lumbar, pelvis. It's going to change your perspective of your hands and your thighs as you roll back. And yes, it's abdominal work. And as I roll my pelvis under, my legs are adjusting. My knees have dropped. Press down through the heels and reach them away from you, and keep pulling your pelvis under a little bit more. Curl your pelvis under a little bit more. Now, see if you can pull the navel back away. So if you imagine where your sacrum is, pull your navel back a little bit more from the sacrum, like the navel's trying to reach farther to the mat away from the sacrum. And then just stay there and then roll up, shoulders over hips, and then stacking. We're gonna do that one more time. So you've walked your feet away, you flexed your feet. You're gonna breastbone, rib cage, lumbar, pelvis, rolling the butt under. So you've aligned your spine and controlled all of those many, many joints. And now you're letting your pelvis roll, 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 roll. Use your hands on your thighs if you need. If you don't need, just let your arms reach out. Reach, pull that back. Reach to the heels, pull the butt under. So your sits bones are reaching to your heels, pulling the spine back. And then rolling up, because what would be the fun in collapsing all the way back and sitting all the way up. All right, from there, we're gonna get set up on your side. And if you wanted to, on your side, you could by all means use padding, props, or not. When we get to like lifting our leg on the side, if you like to have a TheraBand, some resistance, or an ankle weight, you can prop up with that. I'm gonna do the legs without anything though. All right, so getting set up with your knees bent, butt, ribs, head back in alignment, feet also back in alignment with the back edge of the mat. So knees are bent. I'm gonna take my top hand to my hip and reach it away. I'm gonna pull the belly back. Now we're gonna start with a little shoulder thing. So I want you to make a pointy finger with your hand, and I want you to just look straight ahead, and I want you to make an 8 with your hand. See if you can get your elbow as straight as you feel comfortable making this 8. And then I want you to go bigger. And there is an element of internal and external rotation. I think this is why my arm is sore today. I was like, why is it sore right here? I think this is it. It's like a subtle sore, not like I lifted weights, but like I did something I don't normally do. So keep breathing, make it bigger. So you're just slowly getting bigger with these figure 8s. If you want to release your whole hand, you don't have to keep the pointer finger anymore. So all of your fingertips are making the 8. And I'm kind of really going for the internal and external rotation. But if that confuses you, or your brain or your body starts to be like, I can't figure this out, just don't worry about it. Don't worry about the internal, external. Now let's flip our heads on their sides by saying, reverse the direction. Because you likely chose whatever direction was the one you prefer. So just try it the other way. What about that breathing and that lateral or side and back rib cage connection? And up and around. So now you get a real swooping motion with it. Whee. All right, and then stretch that arm overhead, breathe in. Take that arm to your pelvis and kind of push that waistline into length. So I'm pushing my pelvis away from my ribs. Little bit of abdominals. You're going to lift the top leg up, and you're just going to start with a little internal, external. We've been working on our inner and outer thighs. So we've already layered in some of that foot, thigh, pelvic floor, midline connection. So now we're going to layer in the hip work. So you're going to slowly take this leg like a piece of seaweed all the way out to straight, or as straight as you can. Notice where you want to rush it. Like the straighter I go, but still stay bent, that's where I've been like, oh, I don't want to do that. Breathe. Right here. This is where I just want to straighten. But I'm going to try and do like an inch for each internal, external. Hello, click. All right, then I'm gonna keep my legs straight. I'm gonna flex my foot. You're gonna reach and lift that heel like you're sliding a piece of paper on the wall. You're gonna reach the heel, slide the paper up the wall with the heel for 1, and lower down. Reach and slide the piece of paper up the wall. Don't let the paper fall as you lift up, and down 2. I'm still gonna take my hand to my pelvis and be like, don't shorten waist. Hold it steady. 3, and 4, Just 5 of these. And 5. Then you're going to bring this leg forward. And either you are going to take a pillow or a bolster or a block and just let your leg rest on the block like that. Or if you have the flexibility or the mobility, you're going to have your foot down on the ground with your knee kind of towards the ceiling. The knee might be a little bit more towards the shoulder than the ceiling for some bodies. So do whatever you need to do. I take my hand to my thigh and just kind of keep that length in that top side as I bring my bottom leg, kick it forward to the front corner of the mat. We're going to flex the bottom foot. Make sure that you're not sickling that foot, which means curling the pinky toe towards the ceiling. Peel the pinky toe towards the floor, basically, or back and up. Reach to the heel. You're going to lift the bottom leg up, bring it back, lower it down, and forward. Bring it up, back, down, and forward. Up, back, down, and forward. Connect that reach of your inner heel to your inner thigh, to your pelvic floor, to your belly on that bottom side. One more in this direction. Remember to breathe. Go the other direction. 5 and 4 and 3 and 2. Last one, and then hold it there. Point your foot, have a little bit of turnout. Reach that leg, but keep your top waist long. Now you're going to circle it for 5, 4, don't bend the knee, 3, get your quad working, 2, 1, go the other direction for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold that leg there. Flex the foot and let the toes just rest on the ground. Keep the energy through that leg though, and stretch your top leg out to join it. So your bottom foot is slightly flexed. If this is super uncomfortable in that bottom leg, just let it come down. That's fine. Point your top leg, lift it up to where you feel a little work in the hip. I do have turnout here. I'm going to reach there, but notice if my pelvis started to go with my legs. Keep my pelvis, my ribs, and my head back. And then I'm going to circle this leg for 5, for 4, trying not to make an oval, but a real circle. 1 more, and go the other direction for 5, for 4, 3, 2, 1, and then bring that leg down. From here, we're going to roll to our belly, and on your belly, I want you to use a little padding between your pelvis and your rib cage, and depending on the human that you are today, you may want more padding, you may want less padding. So you're going to wiggle around. I'm going to do a little bit more today. So I'm going to fold this up one more, which feels a little extreme sometimes, but I think it's going to be right today. Yeah, because once I squish the blanket down. Okay, so hands are stacked, forehead goes on the hands. You just rest there, get the chest kind of heavy, get the legs wiggling away from you. Let's bring the feet and the legs kind of close together today. And let's have a little bit of turnout. So I'm going to let the knees and the toes, so my big toe side of my foot has a little more connection on the mat than my pinky toe. So if I was parallel, I would try to get all of them down, but I'm turned out to the big toe. Now, if you have like SI joint irritation, then you may just want to stay parallel because it's going to help give you a little more space there. But if you feel okay, then go for turnout. Now, wrap along that lower where the thigh and the butt meet, so the gluteal fold. You're going to really spiral right through there. Lift your kneecaps up so your quads are working and your hips are working. Then from there, you're going to breathe in. Let that back body stretch as you breathe in. Exhale, pull the low ribs and the navel up. Float the elbows up. And then when you're ready, float the head up. And notice if the legs started to slide up toward your lower back, or can they keep anchored and reaching? So a lot of sits bone, hamstring, heel to tether the pelvis down. Then can you keep that navel and low rib cage coming in and up a little bit? Long back of the neck, reach your arms wide. From here, keep no wrinkles in the back of the neck, or try not to. Keep those low ribs and navel contained. Keep the legs active as you pull your arms towards your hips, towards your legs. And as you do that, your upper back will engage and work a little bit more. Notice if your shoulders are rounded forward. Open the shoulders up. Lengthen the back of the neck. Draw the ribs and the navel in and up. Reach the legs a little bit more. Then inhale, reach the arms wide. Exhale, pull the arms in. Pulling the pinky edge of your hand as close to your body as you can without rounding the shoulders and without lifting the chin. Inhale out. Exhale, belly, legs, upper back. So mid back to right in between the shoulder blades. That should be working more than your middle and lower back. Exhale, pulling in. Just got one more after this. Pull those pinky edges of the hand in. Lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. Open the shoulder, collarbone, long back of the neck. Inhale. Exhale. And then bring the arms around, stack the hands, bring the head down. Bend the knees and just wiggle your legs side to side. And when you're ready, you're gonna take yourself center, push your hands underneath your shoulders, stretch back for a moment if you need to, and we're gonna do the legs on the other side. All right, getting set up to align your body with the back edge of the mat. Knees bent, feet back with the mat as well, reaching that top hip down. We're gonna start with our arm. So we're gonna make a little pointer finger, figure 8. Start small, and then go a little bit bigger, and then go a little bit bigger, and then make it as big as you feel comfortable. Breathing. Letting it really go. Release the hand if you want to, so all those fingertips get involved. And just for the fun of it, reverse it. So going the other way. Because what would it be if we didn't scramble our brains a little bit? Wake them up. And 2 more. Breathing. Feels so different from side to side. Then reach that arm overhead. Take a nice stretch. Reaching that top hip away from you as you stretch the arm overhead. And then bringing that hand to your pelvis to push it away. Draw a little bit of abdominals back. Lift the top leg up. And you start with your seaweed leg, internal and external rotation. Slowly, like you do 1 inch per internal and external rotation. Or 1/2 inch. And you just go, okay, I got this. I can do it. What are the places that I want to skip over? Am I keeping my pelvis level? Am I actually letting my femur go in and out? Or am I kind of rocking and doing all sorts of fun other things? Slowly making your way out there. Take your time and breathe. Creating space with the strength, right? So we want the space, but we also want the stability. We want the strength to support us. Slowly, 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 working your way out to a straight leg. Once you get straight, do a few there, pointing through the tips of the toes. And then reach your leg, hold it there, flex your foot. Reach like you got the piece of paper at your heel, slide it up the wall, and down for 1. Reach and lift up, 2, and down. Reach and lift up, 3, and down. Reach and lift up, 4, just 5 of these, so you're on your last one, and 5. And then you're going to bend that leg in. Either take a bolster, a block, a pillow, whatever you need to prop that leg up. You can also just put your foot on the ground and point the knee wherever it can go. I'm going to take my hand to my thigh or maybe to my pelvis. Extend the bottom leg to the front corner of your mat. Take a little bit of turnout and flex the foot. And maybe you don't even do a lot of turnout with the flex foot because it kind of might run into the mat. Then you're going to lift your leg up, back, down, and forward. Up, back, down, and forward. Kind of like a mini rectangle. It's like a circle, but a little bit more like a rectangle. So not like a circle at all. 2 more. Now on this side, I can feel, I have a little knee instability on this side, and I can feel how my knee just kind of wants to bend and my lower leg wants to do it. So I'm going to really work my quad to keep my knee stable. And I'm going to see if I can get the whole leg moving in one piece. Reverse the direction you're going in with that bottom leg for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then point the foot. Have a little turnout with the pointed foot. Keep that knee really strong and straight as you circle for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go the other way. If I feel my calf more than my inner thigh, I'm maybe pointing my foot a little too strongly from my calf muscles. So I'm going to see if I get my toes to articulate and my calf to back off. And then I'm going to see if I can get my inner thigh to do the circle. So working the quad with that. Or maybe I flex my foot because my calf is totally cramping. And I want to feel my inner thigh. And then you're going to bring that leg down. Whether you stay on your toes or let your foot relax down is up to you. Reach your top leg out to stack on top of that bottom leg. Then point the top leg, reach that foot a little bit longer, but keep the pelvis and the ribs back. And then circle that leg for 5 and 4 and 3. Breathing 2 and 1. And now go the other direction for 5, 4, 3, totally different on this side than the other side. 2, 1 more. And then bring that leg down. Then you're going to come back over onto your back. Make sure you have whatever head and back support you need. Get comfy there. Make sure that you have a moment to let your body settle. Find the weight in the pelvis and the sacrum as you let your spine also pull back at the same time, especially those ribs. Navel kind of sinks back, shoulders are easy. Reaching the arms up to the ceiling. You sneeze, excuse me. Reaching the arms to the ceiling, keeping the tail grounded. Shoulders find the mat, just like the ribs. Then when you're ready, float your legs up to tabletop. Take a moment there, wiggle around. Like immediately, I just want to curl my butt under and kind of let my lower back sink. And I would prefer it will feel ultimately better if I have the strength to hold my pelvis stable and pull my lower back with a stable pelvis rather than just letting my pelvis curl. And what we're going to do here is opposite arm and leg are going to reach away. The range of motion is up to you. But you're going to breathe, opposite arm and leg stretch away. And then you're going to exhale. Start in that center to pull back in. Let's do 4 on one side and 4 on the other side. Inhale out. Exhale in. Just back to that starting position. If you want to pull in a little closer, you can. If you just want to stay the start and stop position, just 2 more here. And I've got my other hand right at that center where I feel that my abdominals are kind of the laziest. Like they don't like to do a ton there. It's like a blind spot. I'm going to work there. That's also, by the way, the area of my back that has the hardest time moving and stretching in general. So try the other side. Maybe you keep both arms up to the ceiling. Maybe you take a hand to the belly like I am. Inhale out. I'm trying to breathe into the diagonals of my back. Exhale, pulling in. Good. Inhaling out. Exhaling in. Inhaling out. Exhaling, starting here, not curling, not pulling my chest down. Inhaling back. Exhaling in. From there, you're going to let your knees fall into your chest. Take a moment, wiggle around. We're going to roll onto your hands and knees. So you roll to your side. You make your way to your hands and knees. Pad up with whatever wrist padding and whatever knee padding you need. And grab something to hold between your legs. When you have the thing to go between your legs, you want it pretty close to your pubic bone. So it's really helping you stay connected to that center line. And you're gonna take your hands right underneath your shoulders to start, and your knees underneath your hips, although your knees will probably be a little closer together if you've got something between your thighs. Take a moment and do a little cat-cow, but I want you to go back to breastbone, ribs, lumbar, then the pelvis as you round. So you have a little sequencing. That is a little different than normally when I like to sequence. I like to think start at one side, like start at the tail or start at the head. But this one we're doing these chunks, so breastbone, ribs, lumbar, pelvis. Ooh, which side of your pelvis moved or didn't move? One more like that. Breastbone, ribs, lumbar. Oh, I see I immediately did pelvis. So breastbone. That got my shoulders involved. Ribs. Come on, ribs. There they go. Then lumbar. That's like containing my organs, my navel lifting up. Then I let my pelvis curl, so I can squeeze the block and curl my pelvis, and you're like, that feels like the easy path. But putting it all together is not so easy. And then as you go the other way, can you do the same thing? Breastbone, ribs, lumbar, but keep the belly contained, pelvis. Then find a happy medium where you feel like you can contain. Walk your hands out, and your hands can be slightly wider than your shoulders. Not like crazy, but just a little bit. You're gonna hug whatever you've got between your blocks. Remember your bridging from earlier. Use those bridging muscles as you pull forward, squeezing your hamstrings and glutes. If you wanna pick your feet up to take it with you, do so. And I want you to come to where your shoulders are kind of right over your hands. And you're gonna think, what happened to my breastbone, my ribs, my lumbar spine? And your pelvis is not actually tucking, right? You're actually bringing yourself into hip extension, which means you want your pelvis to be neutral while you support your spine. Now lengthen the back of your neck, mini push-up time. Bend your elbows down 1 inch. Now are your elbows wanting to go wide or really tucked in? Find what's right for you today, but go 1 inch down. Lengthen the back of your neck. Breastbone lift, ribcage lift, lumbar. Go 1 more inch down. Check in, lengthen. Go 1 more inch, lengthen. Don't let your shoulders round forward, and keep the back of the neck long and your lumbar and rib cage and your breastbone lifted, and then straighten the arms all the way. Breathing is part of that support. Go 1 inch down, check your alignment, your connection. Go 1 more inch, check your alignment and connection. Go 1 more inch, check your alignment and connection. Did you start to lift your butt and kind of shift back out of the work? Bring yourself forward into work. And then push up. Take your time. You can go at your own pacing. 1 more time, long back of the neck. Go 1 inch. Hold your alignment. Lengthen. Go 1 more inch. Lengthen. Hold your alignment. 1 more inch. Hold your alignment. Lengthen. Press into the whole hand. Lengthen. And then push all the way up to straight elbows. Flex your feet. Take your toes tucked onto the mat. Breathe in. Into that back body. Exhale. Squeeze whatever you got between your legs. Lift your spine up so much so that your knees just lift right off into a plank. Holding there. Pull yourself a little forward so your shoulders are over your hands. Whew. So you really feel the hand to core connection. Breastbone, long back of the neck, breastbone, ribs, lumbar. Squeeze the inner thighs, squeeze the glutes. Reach the heels, reach the head. And then bend your knees. Push with your arms to go back. Bend your knees. You're going towards kind of a downward dog, and then you're going to shimmy your legs a little forward. And then you're going to walk your hands a little back. You're going to reach and take whatever you've got between your thighs away. And you're going to keep your knees a little soft as you just hang there, and maybe shake your head a little yes. And shake your head a little no. And you're going to breathe into that back and side body. And just hang there. Then you're going to walk your hands back out. Walk your feet back to a downward dog. Take a moment there. Even here, could you kind of round a little bit? Where's the easy place to round? Where's the hard place to round? Could you extend and look out towards your end of your mat between your hands? And then find a happy medium where you feel the length in the back of the neck, the breastbone, the rib cage, the lumbar, But here, the pelvis, even though you have a little connection to your heels, your pelvis is not tucked or tipped, or maybe it is, and maybe you want to explore that. Then you're going to slowly just come down to your knees, and you're going to kind of walk your legs a little forward, and you're going to come to a seated position. Make sure you put back your head support at the end of your mat. You're going to flex your feet so that your toes are lifted. You're going to either grab your shins or your thighs, and we're going to roll down. And you're going to think, all right, before I go on my sits bone, back on my sits bones, I'm going to go breastbone, rib cage, lumbar, pelvis. Use your arms to support if you need. If not, just let your arms float up. As you get your pelvis curling under, your legs will straighten. See if you can keep your legs as stable as possible. So get that pelvis to roll, and then your spine to pull back. Spine, pulling back. And then let your head come down. If you need to bend your knees, bend your knees. I like to sort of bend my knees and take my feet wide and just knock my knees together so that my pelvis and sacrum melt and widen on the mat. And then my ribs are allowed to widen on the mat. And then my shoulder blades, and then my throat, and then my jaw all release. And you take a deep breath there, breathing with the whole body. So breathing with the whole trunk right now. So letting not just your belly move, but your back and your ribs move gently as you just take a nice normal breath in and out. So you don't have to force anything. You can just lay there and breathe. Letting go of all that tension that we carry with ourselves throughout the day. Feeling your toes release and your heels drop. Feeling your calves and shins ease up on their control. Letting your knees knock together and your hips and thighs just go, bleh, I don't have to hold together. And then feeling your pelvis try and level out on the mat, but the sacrum in between the pelvis is starting to get heavier and heavier and wider. And then the lower back has its weight towards the mat. Even though it has its natural curve, it's still heavy. Then your ribs drop a little heavier. And then your shoulders and collarbones get wider and heavier, as if someone put like a nice weighted blanket across your breastbone and your shoulders so that they smile out and up. So the collarbones go, they go wide. And then all of a sudden your neck and your throat tension go, oh, I didn't know. Because when we round forward, it pulls all of that tissue. So letting it widen, not pulling it back and down, but just letting it widen, almost like opens the jaw. And then how does that feel down at your hands, even especially the thumb and index finger? And your head mirrors the weight of the sacrum. And you stay there for as long as you need. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you soon.